Welcome back to the director's commentary of Iron City Chronicles. This is a location called the Open Fire Pizza in Westport in Kansas City. And this location has a lot of cool, diverse lighting, and we were very fortunate to use that location a few times for different things. There's lots of different rooms and things going on in this location. There's Chris Commons with the red camera, and he had a really nice rig set up so we could get some nice tracking shots. I'm a big fan of atmosphere in films, so that's why you see a lot of fog there. Uh, we joked around and said Ridley Scott must have been on set somewhere, which was funny. Um, thing about this night is that we tried to cram a lot into one day or one night. The first 6 or 7 hours were going pretty smooth. We fed people and things like that. But after a while, people start dropping like flies. A lot of these people were donating their time for free. There's Shelby, and she was really cool in helping out. Her boyfriend Michael Rogers is one of the DPs on this project. Um, but yeah, there was a lot of people that showed up, donated their time, and the theme that we were going for was bike punk. Now there's my lovely girlfriend Brandy Crabtree. She's been helping out with a lot of the artistic stuff, and she didn't know it at the time, but she was going to be a dancer. We asked about 30, 40 people to show up, and I don't know the exact count, but eventually only about 15 to 20 people showed up. So a couple people that weren't extras suddenly became extras, and that changes the dynamics pretty quick. Crowd scenes are always tough in movies. It takes a lot of coordination and a lot of planning to make those things work. And I was very pleased that the people that did show up didn't mind, changing a shirt or putting on a helmet and, you know, changing their makeup a little bit and playing more than one scene, which was great. A lot of the people that showed up were also creative types in their own. So basically, pretty much everybody came in their own costume, dressed as they would be. There were a few specific characters that we had to have costumes for there, like Dan and Sonny there practicing the fight stuff. They came in specific costumes. We had to give them some shirts. This costume by Roger Denachet was a very cool bike punk kind of thing. He was going along with the Akira theme. I really love the devil horns coming out of his helmet there. It's actually a very striking costume, and I think he should reappear in the series elsewhere as a different costume. Thomas Burke appears in another project by Christopher Jensen called Last Days, and he's kind of like a secret agent type character who's got his finger in a lot of different military and science things, and he crossed over from that story to ours. This is Rachel Manna, a really good friend of mine, and she's been a wonderful producer. We have learned a lot on this project together, along with Chris Jensen over there. Chris Jensen is a writer, and him and I have been living with this story for a long time. Biggest thing about this location was we were going to have basically two scenes. There's going to be kind of a dance scene where Iron Joe walks in and kind of wades through a crowd of people, and he doesn't belong there. He's not supposed to be there. So when he starts talking to people and asking questions, they all kind of give him like, "What are you doing here?" And eventually he gets into some trouble. So we shot that sequence first, and it took a long time. I mean, you're supposed to schedule things, so where you allow for time and set up and breakdown of lights and things. And one thing that makes it difficult for crowd scenes is that sometimes people don't always know exactly where they're supposed to be, and we tried to make it as clear as possible. But there's some people that have never been on a movie set before, so we had to kind of get them up to speed. I'm very involved in behind the scenes things, just trying to get things going and playing the director, but I wear a few other hats. I have to stop for a second and talk about this guy right here, Jeffrey Staab. It reminds me of Martin Sheen. Hell of an actor. and he's also one of the executive producers on the project. He plays Senator Carl Stoker, and I actually ran into Jeff on a different project, and I said, this guy's got some amazing presence, and he's very sweet, but he can turn on the charm, but he can also be very evil, at the same time. And he's got a real good. He's like my good luck charm on the project. And we kid each other sometimes. I say, well, if you can't get me, call Jeff Staab. He's the only one who I hold in high esteem. And this kid right here that we're about to see, Yohei Ishihama, the reason why this little behind the scenes video exists, there's him mugging for the camera, while my friend Christopher Jeske back there disapprovingly shakes his head. Yohei decided to do some behind the scenes stuff, and he gave us so much footage, it was like we just made a little video out of it. This guy right here is kind of skinny. We tell him to hit the gym because he's horribly malnourished. No, this is Daniel Wise. We also call him Wolverine. We have a fight scene together in this scene, and let me tell you, that guy can pack a punch. I was telling my friends afterwards that after we were fighting, I would block his punches instinctively because it was choreographed that way. But whenever we'd make contact, my body got rocked. I mean, this guy, he's in good shape. So I'm glad it wasn't a real fight. Let's just put it that way. There's Bethany Woods with Rick Wolf, and they actually work on a show called Incognito Cinema Warriors, which they rip on really bad movies. So they've been on a few sets before, and she was very helpful with getting her own costume together and coordinating with Stephen K. Smith and basically combining different pieces of other costumes to make this work. At this point, I really feel like that, and that's me trying to figure out what we're going to shoot first, because I had a plan, but because of lighting and setting up cameras and things and camera movements, sometimes things would take longer than we planned on. So we had to make some adjustments. But one thing I found out very quickly on this project is that you don't do a fight scene and a crowd scene in the same night. You schedule those on separate days because it's going to take longer than you expect. Again, Ridley Scott must have been on set because the fog just came on, all the atmosphere. I like atmosphere in movies. The thing about this location is there's so much cool architecture and just neat things around, and high ceilings, that you could create, several different kind of feels in this environment. And Tess Rome did the makeup on these girls here. And Tess has worked with me on several projects. She's done some music videos and some other stuff. And she's a doll. We actually just suffered through a different project together where we had a really long weekend. It was really cold. And I was glad she was there to be there with me. She's a really good friend of mine. And this is some Iron Joe trying to get some first-person point of view footage. So that's why I was using that little DSLR camera there. Much to Chris Common's chagrin, he would rather shoot the whole thing with the red camera, which I completely understand. The red is a whole new beast. He explained it as basically the red camera is it's a computer with a lens attached to it, is essentially what it is. It takes about, 90 seconds to boot up because it's basically like turning on a computer and putting a lens in front of it. And it has amazing capabilities. I like that you can shoot in 120 frames per second with that camera because, again, as I said before, I do like slow motion stuff. And you got a really nice shot of Joe walking through the crowd here. You get a little bit of a sneak peek here behind the scenes. And there's the lovely Tess. Tess is awesome. She does really good makeup. But we also had that's a holster that my dad and I designed for a different project, and I just hung on to it for years, and it's finally getting some use. But that gun there was shipped to us by Hex Mortis Studios, painted by Joshua Cole, And we said, Joe needs a big gun, and it's a pretty big gun. I don't know, it's like a 55 caliber or something. And there's a little nod to Robert Rodriguez and James Cameron and Quentin Tarantino, the 45 Mac 10 with the silencer. Now this is a stage firing pistol. It's a Bruni 92, and it doesn't shoot real bullets, but it sounds like it does. It fires upwards, and you can rent or purchase those at a place called Have Guns Will Rent here in Kansas City, Kansas. But you can also get them online. But those blanks are not cheap. I mean, it's about every time you squeeze one off, you just spend $1. But there is something to be said to have real firearms or sounding firearms on a set. So you got to call ahead and be careful and contact the police department and things like that, which I did. And interestingly enough, the people across the street when we were firing off those blanks, they didn't really do anything. They were like pumping gas and ordering pizza, and they didn't care. So it's like, well, that's Westport for you. So anyways, I do appreciate you guys listening to the commentary. Check out our social links. We're going to be putting up new content every week. So thanks for joining us, and subscribe and like. Thank you.